The distress beacon cut through the void like a scream. Captain Maya stared at the signal on her screen, then at the planet below. Dense jungle covered every inch of land, and storms the size of continents churned across its surface. The readouts made her stomach clench. High gravity, toxic atmosphere at ground level, predator signatures everywhere. "That's a Class 10, her pilot whispered. "The survey notes say nothing survives down there." Maya looked at the 3 life signs barely registering on their sensors. 3 aliens, still alive somehow, waiting for help that might never come. She made her decision in seconds. "Prep the landing team. We're going down." The shuttle fought through the atmosphere like it was pushing through concrete. When they finally broke through the cloud layer, Maya saw hell waiting for them. Trees rose hundreds of feet into the air, their trunks thick as buildings. Everything moved. Vines slithered across branches. Flowers the size of cars opened and closed like hungry mouths. Even the ground seemed alive, rippling with things that burrowed just beneath the surface. They found the crashed ship half buried in mud. The hull had been torn open by something with claws the length of Maya's arm. 3 aliens huddled inside the least damaged section. One looked like walking crystal, light flickering weakly inside its body. Another was covered in scales that should have been blue but had faded to gray. The third was massive, easily 8 feet tall, but curled into a ball like a frightened child. "We're from Earth," Maya said, her translator converting the words. "We're here to help." The crystalline alien, Ambassador X, stared at her with what might have been eyes. "You should not have come. This world kills everything. We have watched 3 of our crew die in 2 days. You have brought yourselves to your deaths." Maya knelt beside the ambassador. "How badly are you hurt?" "It does not matter. We will all be dead by nightfall." "Not if I can help it." Maya turned to her team. "Start setting up the med station. I want a perimeter established 50 meters out. Get me a water source and check it for contaminants." The aliens watched in confusion as the humans moved with purpose. They had expected panic or despair. Instead, these strange creatures unpacked equipment, tested soil samples, and began building structures from the materials around them. The aquatic alien, Navigator N, managed to speak. "You plan to stay here, on the surface." "Our rescue ship won't arrive for at least 3 weeks, Maya explained while treating the worst of N's injuries. "We'll need shelter, food, and clean water. This planet doesn't look friendly, but Earth taught us how to handle unfriendly." Earth, X asked weakly. "Our home. It tried to kill us for a few 100,000 years. We got stubborn about it." By the time the sun began to set, the humans had established a camp that made the aliens question everything they knew about survival. The humans had identified 12 edible plant species, located 3 water sources, built shelters using a combination of local materials and their own supplies, and created a defensive perimeter marked with chemical deterrents. The massive security officer finally uncurled himself enough to watch. His people were the galaxy's greatest warriors, bred for combat on 5 different worlds. Yet he felt utterly helpless here while these small, soft creatures worked with calm efficiency. "How do you know what is safe to eat?" he asked. Maya held up a small device. "We test everything. Look for proteins we can digest, toxins we can process, allergic compounds we need to avoid. Our bodies are pretty good at handling poison, but we don't take chances." "Your bodies can process poison." "To a point. Earth has millions of things that want to kill you. We learned to handle most of them," she smiled. "The rest we learned to avoid." Night fell like a curtain. The aliens had never experienced darkness like this. On their worlds, artificial light kept the night at bay. Here, the blackness was total except for the small fire the humans maintained. Sounds erupted from the jungle. Roars, screams, chittering that came from throats never meant to make such noises. "They are coming," whispered. "The night hunters, they took 3 of my crew." "How many?" Maya asked, checking her weapon. 6, maybe 7. They move as one." Maya activated her communicator. All units, we have incoming predators, possibly 6 to 7, standard defense pattern. The humans moved into position with practiced ease. They didn't huddle together like the aliens expected. Instead, they spread out, creating overlapping fields of fire. Each human held a weapon, yes, but they also carried torches, noisemakers, and things that smelled harsh and chemical. The predators came from 3 directions at once. They looked like a nightmare fusion of wolf and lizard, each one the size of a small car. 6 legs carried them forward in a loping run that ate up ground impossibly fast. Their mouths opened to reveal rows of teeth designed to shred and tear. The aliens prepared to die. The humans opened fire. The lead predator went down in a spray of blood. The second swerved but ran into a line of fire that Maya had set while they were building camp. It screamed and retreated. The third got close enough that could see its eyes, yellow and filled with hunger, before a human named put 3 rounds into its skull from 15 feet away. The remaining predators circled, trying to find weakness. The humans gave them none. They moved together like parts of a single organism, covering angles, reloading while others provided suppression fire, using their torches and noisemakers to create confusion. One predator tried to flank around the left side, was waiting with something the aliens didn't recognize. He threw it, and the device exploded in a flash of light and sound that sent the creature fleeing in blind panic. Another attempted to charge straight through. Maya shot it twice, aiming for the legs. It stumbled, and before it could recover, 3 other humans had put it down permanently. The battle lasted 6 minutes. When it was over, 3 predators lay dead and the others had vanished into the jungle. The humans immediately began securing the bodies, checking for wounds on their team and reinforcing their perimeter. Stared in absolute shock. His people had lost 3 trained warriors to these creatures. The humans, these small beings with no armor plating, no natural weapons, no enhanced senses, had killed 3 and driven off the rest. How, he finally managed to ask. Maya was cleaning her weapon. Teamwork, mostly. We know we're not the biggest or strongest, so we learn to work together. We use tools, we use our brains, and we don't give up. You function in total darkness, X observed. How is that possible? Our eyes cannot see in such conditions. Humans have pretty good night vision, Maya explained. Not the best on Earth, but good enough. Plus, we train for this. We practice fighting in the dark until we can do it in our sleep. N made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. Your world made you into apex predators. Our world made us into survivors, Maya corrected. There's a difference. Predators hunt. We endure. We adapt. We figure out what kills us and we learn to kill it right back. Over the next few days, the aliens watched humanity at work. The humans cataloged every plant, every insect, every threat within a kilometer of their camp. They learned which creatures were territorial and which were pack hunters. They identified the patterns of the local ecosystem and inserted themselves into it with surgical precision. When it rained, the humans had already built drainage systems. When the temperature dropped at night, they had thermal shelters. When a swarm of flying insects attacked, the humans had already prepared repellent using local plants. X spent hours watching Maya work. Finally, the ambassador asked the question that had been building since the rescue. What classification is your world, your Earth? Maya looked up from the water purification system she was building. I don't know your classification system. We rate worlds by habitability. Class 1 is paradise. Stable weather, few predators, abundant resources. Class 10 is the worst possible environment. This world is Class 10. Only 2 others have ever been found. In Class 9. Death worlds, places where even the plants are dangerous, where weather can kill you in minutes, where predators hunt in coordinated packs and disease is everywhere. X paused. No species has ever successfully colonized a Class 9 world. Most refuse to even land on them. Maya nodded slowly. Earth has all of that. Carnivorous plants, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes. We have snakes that can kill you with a single bite, spiders that can put you in a coma, jellyfish that stop your heart. We have bears, tigers, crocodiles, and sharks. We have diseases that have killed millions. Then Earth is a Class 9. Actually, Maya said quietly, according to your scale, Earth would probably be Class 9 or worse, maybe even a 10. The aliens fell silent. They looked at Maya, at her team, at these humans who moved through this nightmare world like they were on a camping trip. X's light flickered brighter. You are not just survivors. You are the product of a world that tried to kill you for your entire evolution, and you won. We didn't win, Maya said. We just didn't lose. That's the human way. We don't give up. We don't quit. And we definitely don't let some angry planet tell us we can't be here. That night, X sent an encrypted message to the Galactic Council. It took hours to compose, because the ambassador had to find words for something the galaxy had never encountered before. The message was simple. We have found a species they are not like us. They do not fear what should kill them. They study it. They adapt to it. They master it. We must reclassify humanity immediately. They are not another species seeking membership. They are apex survivors, and we must approach them accordingly. 3 weeks later, when the rescue ships finally arrived, they found not a desperate group clinging to life, but a thriving camp with mapped safe routes, cataloged wildlife, and enough supplies to last months. The humans had not just survived Prime. They had made it look easy. High Admiral read the report 3 times. Each time he became more convinced it was a mistake. No species survived 3 weeks on a Class 10 world. It was impossible. The laws of biology made it impossible. Yet the evidence stared at him from his screen. He stood on the landing pad as Maya walked toward him. She looked tired but healthy. Behind her, the human team carried equipment and samples like they were returning from a research expedition, not a survival ordeal. Captain said, his translator struggling with human vocal patterns. I need to understand what happened here. Maya smiled. We survived. We helped our friends. Standard first contact protocol for us. There is nothing standard about surviving on Prime. Gestured to the jungle behind them. That environment has a 100% mortality rate for every species we have ever sent. You probably sent scientists and explorers, Maya said. We're mostly soldiers and survival specialists. Earth requires that everyone in our space program goes through hostile environment training. Why? Because Earth is a hostile environment. Spent the next several hours touring the human camp. What he saw challenged every assumption he held about survival and adaptation. The humans had not simply built shelters. They had created a functional outpost with running water, waste management, food storage, and defensive positions that could hold off attacks from multiple directions. You identified 247 species in your area, said, reading from his. You classified 89 as hostile, 34 as potentially dangerous, and 124 as neutral or beneficial. How is such rapid analysis possible? Maya walked him to their research station. We learned to look for patterns. On Earth, certain features mean danger. Bright colors often mean poison. Certain behaviors mean aggression. We took what we know and applied it here. You applied Earth knowledge to an alien world. The principles are the same. Biology follows rules. Predators act like predators everywhere. Pack hunters use pack tactics. Territorial creatures mark boundaries. Once you understand the rules, you can work within them. They stopped at the perimeter. Could see the markers the humans had placed, the fire breaks they had created, the cleared sight lines that gave them tactical advantage. It was military precision applied to wilderness survival. You are warriors, observed. We're humans, Maya corrected. Sometimes that means we fight. More often it means we adapt. Approached, moving with more confidence than he had shown in weeks. The large alien had spent every day training with the human security team. He bowed to, then spoke. "Admiral, I request permission to remain with the humans, to learn their methods." Surprise showed in the way his crest flared. "You are our finest security officer. Why would you need training from them?" "Because I have been a warrior my entire life, and in 3 weeks these humans taught me that I know nothing about true combat," gestured to the jungle. "My people would have died here. They did die here. The humans thrived. I must learn how." Later that evening, sat with Ambassador X in the medical bay. The crystalline alien had recovered much of his strength thanks to human medical care. "Show me Earth's classification file," said. X projected the data, read in growing horror. Earth had atmospheric oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species. It had weather patterns that generated forces capable of leveling cities. Its geological activity produced regular catastrophic events. It hosted predators in every ecological niche. Its disease burden was astronomical. "This cannot be accurate," said. "No sapient life could evolve on such a world." Yet they did. X's light pulsed slowly. And not only did they evolve, they became the dominant species. They eliminated or domesticated every major predator. They built cities in flood zones, earthquake zones, hurricane paths. They turned deserts into gardens and frozen wastelands into homes. How? They are relentless. They do not accept limits the way we do. When a problem kills them, they study it until they understand it, then they solve it. They have been doing this for 200,000 years. Pulled up biological data on humans. What he found disturbed him more than the planetary classification. Humans could regulate their body temperature across a range that would kill most species. They could survive injuries that would be fatal to others. They could function on minimal sleep and recover from exhaustion faster than any known sapient race. Their immune systems fought off diseases that would devastate galactic populations. "They are engineered," said. "They must be." "They are not. They are evolved. Earth shaped them into what they are. Every advantage they possess came from facing challenges that killed the weak and tested the strong." Navigator N joined the conversation from his recovery tank. "I asked to see their military history. They have been fighting wars on their own planet for their entire recorded history, not just against other humans but against their environment. They fight floods, fires, storms, predators, disease, famine, drought. Their entire existence is one long battle for survival." "And they won every battle," X added. "They are still here, still expanding, still adapting." Made a decision. "I am recommending a new classification for humanity, not a danger rating, something else. We need a category for species that come from and carry those advantages with them." "What will you call it?" N asked. "Apex status. It will indicate a species uniquely suited for hostile environment operations. Species that do not just survive challenges but master them." 3 days later, received a priority alert. A colony world called Serenade IV was under attack by an invasive predator species. The creatures were adapting faster than any known organism, learning to bypass defenses, and overwhelming the colonists through sheer aggression and intelligence. Standard containment had failed. Evacuation was being considered. Found Maya supervising the loading of supplies onto the human ship. "Captain, I have a situation that requires expertise we do not possess." Maya listened to his explanation. When he finished, she looked thoughtful. "You want us to handle an invasive species problem. You have demonstrated abilities far beyond what we thought possible. This problem is similar to what you faced here, but the creatures are more intelligent and adaptive." "How long do we have?" 72 hours before the colony must evacuate, and the planet must be sterilized." Maya turned to her team. "Get me everything we have on invasive species management. I want you pulling Earth protocols for dealing with adaptive predators. Start working up tactical scenarios." She looked back at, "We'll help, but I need full authority on the ground. My team, my decisions." Agreed. The flight to Serenade IV took 30 hours. During that time, Maya and her team reviewed every piece of data available on the Reavers, as the colonists called them. The creatures were pack hunters, roughly the size of Earth wolves but with 6 legs and considerably more intelligence. They had learned to avoid energy weapons after only a dozen encounters. They had found weaknesses in the perimeter fence within days. They had even learned to fake retreats to draw defenders out of position. They learned fast, observed. Maybe as fast as Earth wolves or big cats. Which means they think like Earth predators, Maya said. They're not monsters. They're just animals doing what animals do, finding food, defending territory, protecting their pack. When they arrived at Serenade IV, the situation was worse than reported. The Reavers had breached the outer perimeter in 3 places. Colonists had retreated to the central habitat. 4 people had died in the last week. The local security forces were exhausted and demoralized. Maya walked the perimeter with who had insisted on coming. She studied the breach points, examined the Reavers' tracks, and analyzed their scat. "They're not trying to wipe out the colony," she said after 2 hours. "They're trying to claim territory." "Does the distinction matter?" asked the colony administrator, a multi-limbed being named as. "It matters completely. If they wanted to kill everyone, they would attack the central habitat. Instead, they're pushing at the edges, testing boundaries. This is territorial behavior." "How do we stop them?" "We don't stop them. We redirect them. We make them understand that this territory is claimed and too dangerous to contest." Over the next 48 hours, the humans implemented a strategy that seemed insane to every observer. They created controlled burns in a pattern that formed a boundary around the colony. They used Reaver scat to mark territory lines. They set up acoustic deterrents that produced sounds in frequency ranges the Reavers found painful. They eliminated the 3 largest males in the dominant pack with surgical precision. "You are challenging them," observed as he watched Maya set up another acoustic device. "We're speaking their language. On Earth, this is how we managed wolves, bears, and big cats for thousands of years. You establish boundaries. You eliminate problem individuals. You create conditions where leaving is easier than staying." The galactic forces watched in fascination as the Reaver attacks became less frequent, less organized, and less aggressive. The creatures were still present, but they had stopped trying to breach the perimeter. They watched from a distance, wary and uncertain. On the 3rd day, a Reaver pack approached the boundary line. They sniffed the markers, heard the acoustic deterrents, and saw the burned areas. The pack leader, a female with distinctive scarring, stared at Maya from 50 meters away. For 10 seconds, human and Reaver studied each other. Then the Reaver turned and led her pack away from the colony. "She understands," Maya said quietly. "She knows this territory is claimed by something dangerous." As approached, his multiple arms trembling with relief. "You did it. In 3 days, you solved what we could not solve in 3 months. You were trying to eliminate them," Maya explained. "That just made them more aggressive. We showed them we were the bigger threat and gave them an easier option. They took it." "Will they return?" "Probably not. We killed their strongest males and marked clear boundaries. The surviving packs will find territory elsewhere. As long as you maintain the deterrence and respect the boundary lines, you should be fine." Arrived as the humans were preparing to leave. He walked the perimeter, examined the markers, and studied the data the humans had collected. "You treated them like animals, not enemies," he said. "They are animals," Maya replied. "Dangerous ones, but animals. Earth taught us that you can coexist with dangerous animals if you understand them. We were prepared to sterilize this planet, to destroy the ecosystem to save the colony. You don't always need the biggest weapon. Sometimes you just need to know how animals think." Stood silent for a long moment. Then he accessed his communicator and spoke to the Galactic Council directly. I am recommending immediate apex status classification for humanity. Furthermore, I am proposing the establishment of a joint operation between human forces and galactic colonization teams. We have spent 10,000 years avoiding the difficult problems. Humanity has spent their entire existence solving them. The council debated for 3 hours. In the end, the vote was unanimous. Humanity would establish what they called the Hostile Environment Response Division. They would train other species in survival. They would assist colonies facing environmental challenges. They would solve problems that the galaxy had learned to walk away from. 3 months later, Maya stood on the observation deck of the New Herd headquarters, watching shuttles come and go. Each one carried humans heading to worlds the galaxy had given up on. Toxic planets, storm-racked moons, territories infested with predators. Stood beside her, now the head of the galactic security contingent assigned to Herd. "Do you think we can learn what you know?" he asked. "You already are. The first galactic class graduated last week. They are not as good as humans yet, but they are learning." "Why do you think humans are so good at this?" Maya smiled. "Because Earth never let us quit. Every time we thought we had it figured out, Earth threw something new at us. Ice ages, supervolcanoes, megapredators, pandemics. We learned that giving up meant dying, so we just stopped giving up." A message came through on her communicator. Another colony in trouble. Another impossible situation. Another chance to prove that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons or their intelligence. It was their refusal to accept that anything was impossible. "Duty calls," Maya said, heading for the shuttle bay. "Some colony on a Class 8 world is having trouble with acidic rain that is dissolving their structures." Followed, "How will you solve it?" "I don't know yet, but we will figure it out. That is what humans do, we figure things out." As their shuttle departed, thought about what humanity had brought to the galaxy. Not conquest or domination, but something far more valuable. They had brought the lesson that survival was not about being the strongest or having the best technology. Survival was about being too stubborn to die. Across the galaxy, on 100 different worlds, humans were teaching that lesson. They were showing species that had evolved on paradise worlds what it meant to fight for every single day. They were proving that the greatest advantage was not avoiding challenges but learning to master them. Earth had tried to kill humanity for 200,000 years. Humanity had not just survived. They had learned to thrive in conditions that would destroy anyone else. That made them something the galaxy had never seen before. Not conquerors, not warriors, not even explorers. They were survivors, and in a galaxy that avoided danger, survivors became kings.